welcome back to Rookie Geek Gaming. Yes, so happy Easter. Happy Easter. Yeah, a couple days late because I had a little issue before, but that's okay. So anyways, happy Easter. I was out with the wife's family. We went up to visit their house. Then we met her brother and her and his wife there, and their little kid. Yeah, a lot of coffee's so delicious. It was a good time. So I haven't been to church in a while. I don't really go all that often. But you know, Easter is kind of one of those holidays that, kind of following our topics that we've been talking about, Easter is one of the more interesting ones. Because what do you get from religion? What role does religion play in your development as a productive member of society? And I've always felt that we needed religion. People need religion. You need to have that higher than you sort of goal, that just there's something out there that's beyond. Because if there isn't, then I think you get sucked into nihilism. You get sucked into despair. There's no replacement for it. So like, if there's no end game, what's the point of playing? I mean, that's kind of a rule for games, right? You're playing your MMO and you get to level 50 and everything's awesome, and suddenly you realize that Star Wars has no end game, and why did I waste all this time, right? So you know, we look at life and the decisions we make and the actions we take and how everything rolls out. And if there's no, I think if we don't have that religion in our life to set your basis of character, and I think I'm going to use the word ethics here, it's hard to have any sort of purpose. So yeah, so what are ethics? Well, here I just happen to have the definition right here. So the definition that I'm going to use, there's a few different ones. This is the one that most readily encompasses what we're talking about, I think. So it's the branch of philosophy dealing with the value relating to human conduct with respect to the rightness and wrongness of certain actions and the goodness and badness of the motives and the ends of such actions. So what does that mean? Well, we're playing video games, so let's kind of roll with that concept. So you're playing Fallout 3, and you do something that you know is wrong, you lose karma. For some reason, Fallout 4 didn't have a karma system, which I thought was weird. I mean, I started with Fallout 4. That's the one that got me into the whole thing. But you know, Fallout 3 and I think New Vegas had the karma system, and that was so cool. That was such an enjoyable system that let's go grab this little thing. What? Nothing happened? There it is. Better in the campaign. And Sorcel Blades. Very cool. Okay. That was kind of fun. Oh, I really should have had him heal up, I guess. Oh, I can't do this for 3 turns. Okay, we kind of just have to chill. So anyways, That's ethics. So, the rightness and wrongness of actions, and it's a little different than the law. Ethics are. Something might be morally right, but illegal. You know, the whole concept of stealing bread to feed your starving children. Not real common today. There's not really a starvation issue. It's more of an obesity issue. So maybe it's actually moral to not feed your children because you're making them fat and unhealthy. But the goodness and badness of the motives and the ends of such actions. So yeah, yeah, talking about ethics, because it's one of those things that I think when you're in church, like youth. So my sister's brother is younger, and uh, they are absolutely like they're lefties, we're righties, whatever. But there's such a there's such a difference between how I don't know. So they're we never even talk about these topics, and it's almost frustrating. Like I'm like, why can't we debate these topics? And the thing I keep getting told is, we don't want to offend people, and we don't want to upset her, and we don't want to break the family up or whatever. It's like, oh my god, like I don't know. It just seems like it should just be a conversation you can have with people. But whatever. So we're all at church, and her brother and his wife just don't want to be there. You can tell. It's not even like they're not hiding it real well. But so so they end up leaving halfway through because their kid was getting rowdy, which actually led to more problems later. But the church was nice. I mean, they had the songs, and they have the preacher, and preachers are they're like motivational speakers. They get you kind of but their motivation is that end game. Like, how do I instill the idea that these people have a future, something to strive for in the afterlife. You talk about meeting your family members up there, and you talk about, I can be saved despite the sins, and that's the whole point of the Good Friday, the sacrifice on the cross, and the following resurrection. It is a good tale because we're all flawed. All of us are flawed. Every one of us has just massive flaws. Humans are flawed. But I think humans are generally good. And so that's kind of it might have something to do with which side you sit on. But, I think humans are flawed, but we're generally good. I think we I always wonder how much that affects people's, like, I forget who was talking about it. I'm sure it was Stefan Molyneux or I don't think it was Stefan, although I'm sure he's talked about it before. But the concept, I think it's Dennis Prager. So they talk about the fundamental concept of, do you think people are good or bad? And that decides, I'm trying to think how the logic works again, that decides which side you're on. If you think people are fundamentally good, and then let me talk this through because I think I'm wrong on my initial thoughts. But if you think people are fundamentally good, that means it's their situation, and you want them protected by the government. If you think people are fundamentally bad, no, I think if you think they're fundamentally bad, then you need a government because people couldn't exist normally without the government. So if you think people are good, you don't think they need a government. Yeah, it's that whole John Locke thing, right? So, yeah, if you think people are fundamentally good, then you don't necessarily need the government. And if you think people are fundamentally bad, then you do need the government. So, yeah. So then, and that's how religion kind of fits into things. It helps. Oh, Emperor Karl Franz is coming. Oh shit, he is coming fast. Oh, I am not prepared for that right now. So, yeah, let's talk about what Christianity gives you then. Don't know if I've really explained my thought on ethics enough, but let's jump into the Christian ethics. Like, what are you provided? Again, besides that, hey, there's this future thing, like when you die, your decisions in life matter, and so that helps create a basis of goodness. Why be good? Almost is kind of the question, I guess. Why be good? And if it's only because so you don't get caught or it's not against the law, I think you lose a lot. I think that creates problems. So, Christian ethics. So, looking these up on the web, I pretty much just Googled Christian ethics, and one of the first things that pops up is Wikipedia, as always. And it's not always the best source, but it's a pretty good one. I don't know, because I guess people can just go in and edit it, so watch out for bias on it, I suppose, because somebody could just jump in there and throw a couple words in that aren't necessarily true. So, keep that in mind when you're researching anything, I suppose. But Christian ethics. First one is prudence, or the concept of wisdom. So are you making a wise choice? Have you thought about all the various parts of what it is that you're doing here, So I guess let's load up on people, man. Oh, this guy he's not really. That's about all I can do is hope I can score a. Oh, wow, yeah, sweet. Okay, well, let's see what happens here. Wisdom. People are wise. People are thoughtful in their actions. Yeah, run away. People are taking time to thoughtfully decide what to do. It's that don't rush to judgment. Don't rush to judgment. That's kind of a good one. Next is justice or fairness. Which is actually kind of an interesting one. Is life fair? We talk about that idea of being equal. Are we all equal? Yes, we're all equal. Under the law, everyone is equal. So you either get equality of opportunity or you get equality of outcome. One of which involves protecting the individual. The other one gives an unbelievable amount of power to the government to make sure that everyone has the same stuff. And what is the same? Oh my god, equality outcome is such a vicious, scary idea. Like, I'm married, So that means everyone would have to be married. So we'd be forcing marriage on people in order for everyone to be equal. I own a car outright, like not the bank's car, my car. And so everyone has to have that. So what are we going to do? Are we going to force what, car dealerships to give everyone a car? Like I don't know. It's such an endless kind of, how would you get to these things? How would you do these things? So can I reach? No. Okay. Yes, that's justice, and justice can absolutely be taken too far. Too much adherence to law and order. I think, there's that balance of order and chaos that I'm reading right now in Jordan Peterson's book, and you want to walk that line in between. And too much order, and I would imagine too much justice based on order, is a bad thing. Unless you specifically mean fairness, and I don't think you could ever have too much fairness. But fairness of outcome is a problem. I think that's when fairness takes a harsh turn. Hope I described that well enough. If we all have to have the same outcome, then you would have to have a brutally powerful government to ensure that that happens, and we all wouldn't have much. There wouldn't be much left at the end. So, next one is temperance, so restraint. Jordan Peterson said on a podcast that one of the more troubling or difficult to deal with lines in the Bible has always been the meek shall inherit the earth. And he said that there's been a little bit of a revelation on what the word meek actually means in this sense. Because when they said meek, that wasn't the right translation. The right translation was more along the lines of, the man who does not draw his sword shall inherit the earth. So the one that has this restraint, the one that has the temperance to not return to violence at any given moment, the one that's able to pull back and use his words, and show that kindness, that's the one that will inherit the earth. So, oops, I think I meant to build some stuff. Yeah, perfect. My screen got turned for some reason. There we go. Yeah. So, that's temperance. That's an interesting one. The meek shall inherit the earth. Or is it the man with the unsheathed sword shall inherit the earth? Or woman, I'm sure. Courage. Courage. Courage is an interesting thing. Buddy would like a rubber band. Buddy. Okay. So, courage. Courage is kind of a, I think it's that thing that we all strive for, that hero in the movie, able to take on the enemy and show strength when other men would run. It's one of those, my favorite words, right? Courage. And it's hard to be courageous, I think, in a lot of cases. Doing the right thing instead of what's expedient. We live in a time right now where, I battle this every day. Everyone in my, I don't want to say everyone in my office. I think more people are probably right than come across, but it's just easier when the lefty gets going that you're like, yeah, oh, right, oh, it's awful, yeah. I think that's just easier to do. So instead of really standing up for what you believe in, right now, I mean, the only, I guess you could lose your job, but compared to what it used to be, it is just a no. It's like a no-brainer. I mean, just go out and you gotta speak your mind. You gotta talk about this stuff. It's basically mandatory that we talk about this stuff now, because if we don't, we're gonna miss out on a lot of things, and I think it's gonna path to war. That's sweet. Oh, I needed this unit experience before. Whatever, let's go that route, I guess. So I'm supposed to assassinate this character here. I don't really care. Oh, it's just so in my favor. Not to waste time. Whew, lost 600 people. Look at this. This guy got 290 kills. I bet he did. So that's courage. Yeah, that kind of, I mean, talk like religious courage, kind of just standing up for what you believe in. That's something that doesn't readily or easily happen for a lot of people. How do I get Minotaurs? I'd really like to get Minotaurs. That's how you get Minotaurs. Minotaurs are just the best! Oh my god, they're so cool! Oh, this stuff's too expensive at this point. Alright. Next up on our list, faith. Faith's pretty straightforward. Just a concept of, believing in the given God, and that there is that afterlife, and religion, man, it's so almost fundamental. I mean, even like the first humans had cave drawings of, animals upon the ceiling, and yeah, I don't know if it was strictly a religious thing, but I feel like I've heard that they buried their dead, and they, it's such a, that idea that there's just something else, like whether it's you go to a fluffy heaven, or I believe in the idea of reincarnation. I believe that, like the earth, this comes probably from my Wiccan experience, or maybe even Buddhism, the gravity that ties us to the earth is kind of that, that's what links our spirit to the earth, and so when you die, you go into the earth, your spirit goes into the earth, and then when you're born, it's brought back out, kind of like a ladle into a pot of soup kind of thing. And maybe it comes specifically from our ancestors, or maybe it comes from, I might need the leadership here. I think I'm going to get attacked. Maybe it comes from, maybe it comes specifically from your ancestors. Maybe it it comes more from just maybe it's random a little bit. I mean, I don't know all that specifics. I mean, we do get so much genetically from our ancestors. So that could be. I think I need. So that's my theory on the hope for the afterlife, and if your spirit does do something, then it's more likely that you're gonna make better decisions. I think, like, why be good? Well, you're gonna be good because of. Holy crap! What does this X mean? Yeah, absolutely decline that attack. Wow. Alright, here we go. So, next up on our list is hope. Yeah, you maintain that positive attitude. You have hope and stuff. Once we lose hope, I think we lose really a lot of why we should be good. The people addicted to drugs, or people that have there's so many people that have no hope anymore. And what brings you hope? I believe it's having a sense of accomplishment. I believe it's having something to work for and strive for. Jobs bring hope. I think humans have an innate need to work, to be productive, to be accomplished, and when you don't have that, you atrophy, you wither away. I think inside and out, you wither away. And so I think we need that hope in order to really keep going. And I believe that more and more. I mean, my jobs I had before, I worked with inner city people, and I mean, they're all great, and they're fun, and they're just trying to do their things like anyone else. But man, some of them have really lost that hope, and you can tell. And it's very destructive, because then I think the only outcome at that point is, sense of complete despair, drugs. You have generations of people on welfare now. You're like, okay, so I'm giving an anecdote here, but I think it's fairly consistent. When a family from the inner city would come in, it usually there were some normal traits. The grandmother would come in, and the grandmother usually worked. She was always, the last of the remnants of hope and all these Christian ethics and everything, basically. Struggled to maintain, fought adversity, but usually has a job, usually works, struggling through. But she had a kid young. That daughter hasn't done a thing, completely overweight, completely just nothing. Has done nothing, isn't providing, isn't creating. Well, the only thing they're creating is more children. And then those children, I mean, there's usually no father. in the relationship. Maybe there's a grandfather. Every now and then a grandfather would come in too, and he looked haggard. He looked like just like he had given up. And he had all these babies running around, and they were not being cared for mentally, psychologically, and physically. They were all fine, but you could tell that there was going to be a level of abuse. A lot of the times the mothers were rough with the kids in the store, and so you can only imagine what's happening at home, right? That's a stretch. I mean, I understand, but that was a sad thing to see, because now you have generations, like the kids are, I mean, maybe they buckle down and they go be better. I mean, I'm hoping, but I feel like you're starting to have generations of people on welfare and learning how to live off welfare, and no job experience, no interview experience, no way to even tell the next generation how to do better. I mean, my dad didn't tell me how to save money, but at least he told me to. So, it's a concept that it's generational dependency on welfare. It is awful. It is destroying families and lives, and it is absolutely vicious. And yes, we should help people. That's the next Christian ethic is charity. When it's voluntary, it's a beautiful thing. But this generational welfare is awful. When people are like, oh, we need to increase welfare, when you say let's increase welfare, what actually happens is let's destroy more lives. And the inner city it's a sad place to be. I have been there a lot. I have seen it. I have talked to these people. The crime, the drugs, the loss of hope, the poverty, the pain that a lot of these people feel. There's just nothing, and you can't go get a job because the job is not going to pay you what the welfare pays. The welfare is going to pay you enough where you can have food on the table. Like I said, obesity is more of the problem today as opposed to starvation. Oh, I will lose if time runs out. Oh, I thought he attacked me. I ambushed him. That's right. Oh, I didn't necessarily have to ambush him. Oh, I think I kind of goofed here. Alright, well, I guess let's go do this. So, yeah, the generational dependency on welfare. It is a vile, awful thing, and I hope that people understand this and realize this down the road, or I mean, we are sentencing people to subsistent living, and that's really all that's happening. We are basically destroying their lives, and it's so easy. Like, which would you rather hear? Hey, you can get this free money by not doing anything, or you can do stuff and maybe not make as much. And most people would say, oh shit, I get free stuff? Oh yeah, give me the free stuff. That sounds awesome. But what they don't realize is that comes with you are signing up for your whole character being hurt and destroyed, and it is just a level of loss of character. I mean, you're basically saying I am not worth it as a person. Can you provide for me because I'm unable to do it by myself? And that's the moral that we're giving, and that is what is just destroying people. It's destroying these families, and we pay out more if there's no male in the house. We pay out more if they have more kids. We reward all this bad behavior, all because we're coming from we're virtue signaling that we want to help people. Is that what's happening? I mean, it is terrible. It is unbelievably terrible that we have done this to people and families, and we don't realize how awful it truly is, and it is awful. And people, I mean, they don't realize it. They don't realize that we're actually. I definitely don't want to charge halberdiers. God. Oops. Yeah. So, and charity. I mean, we could much more provide for people better through charity than we could through government programs. Like, the government programs are awful. And the government programs are destructive. They're dangerous. They're not really helping people, although you would believe that. You would believe they are, but reality is they aren't. We're giving to people and we're providing and we're making lives better, but we're not. We're telling them the only way that you're gonna get this stuff that you need or want is by giving up your personal any kind of. Oh shit, those fucking Reichsguard fucking tore me up. This is probably a bad decision. So, those are Christian ethics, and where have they led? What have they done for us as a society? I think they've provided an awful lot of good. So, yeah, I mean, that's ethics and religion. I think maybe I was going to talk about some of the other religions too, because that's kind of fascinating to get into what other religions have created as far as ethics are concerned. Well, I'm going to win this, but I am going to lose an awful lot of my soldiers. These Minotaurs are by far my favorite. They're just so pimply. Yeah. Gotta kill this leader. If we can kill Karl Franz, then this game is pretty much done. There we go. We're breaking them. I don't have cavalry. Like, my only cavalry are these Minotaurs, and that's what you need to... You need cavalry to break things. Oh, there they go. They're all piecing out now. No, it doesn't matter. I think Karl Franz got away. Yeah, he sure did. Oof, that was a Pyrrhic victory. Yeah, sure thought so. Yeah, so that's Christianity. I was going to dig into other religions. I think I might at some point, because I think there's more to talk about. And then I'm going on probably a 50-minute video here. So yeah, that's my take on ethics and Easter, and yeah. So I mean, it's that was a good talk. I got to get better at focusing on the talk at hand as opposed to the game. Maybe, I don't know. I got to work out how I want to do it. Still, it's definitely such a challenge for me to stay readily focused, provide a good conversation, and still, be able to chat. So I think it's good for what I want to do to, develop and everything else. So, like I said, I don't think many people are going to listen to this regardless, but I enjoy doing it, so that's really what matters. And then as new games come along, we'll be playing them. Like, I'm looking forward to hitting up the Britannia game that's coming around the corner. So, all right, guys. I think that's all I got for today. So until next time, have a good one.